It's 7:30. Good morning, I'm Ian Crouch with Hunter News. Police are urging members of the public not to approach two men wanted over a series of violent attacks on drug dealers in the Maitland and Cessnock areas. Michael Carroll and Kevin Sams are accused of robbing and assaulting dealers over the past 2 weeks. The Herald reports they threaten their victims with swords and knives while demanding their entire supply of drugs. Those who don't comply get their fingers broken, earlobes cut or other body parts burnt. Acting Detective Inspector Mitch Dubotsky says the men managed to evade capture following raids on homes at Rutherford and Taro yesterday.
We believe they are still in the area, and we're still receiving information from the community. We're very grateful for the community's help, and we do believe that with the community's assistance, we'll be able to locate those men.
An autopsy is expected to be carried out today on a body found at the base of cliffs in the Awabakal Nature Reserve at Dudley. It's believed to be that of 16-year-old Taylor Armand, who went missing from her home more than 3 weeks ago. Police say it was impossible to identify the remains, which will be the subject of a forensic examination today. The death is not being treated as suspicious. And if you or someone you know needs to talk to somebody, call Lifeline on 13 11 14. More than 250 individuals and groups have made submissions to the first of 3 public hearings to examine state planning decisions in Newcastle and the wider Hunter. The Parliamentary Committee examining the issue will convene for the first time today in Newcastle, with the Chairman and General Manager of the Hunter Development Corporation the first to address today's hearing. Save Our Rail and other community groups will have their turn this afternoon. Committee member and Greens MP David Shoebridge believes the government is ignoring the evidence against cutting the inner-city rail line.
The job of this parliamentary inquiry is to gather that evidence, to gather a compelling case. Now, if at the end of that there's a far more compelling case to say no to the truncation of the railway line, well then, as a parliamentarian, I have an obligation to progress that and do everything in Parliament to make that happen. But we're going to assess the evidence, we're going to carefully assess the evidence, and unlike the government, proceed on that basis.
A man who allegedly grew cannabis for medicinal purposes has been charged following a raid at Islington. Drug squad officers dismantled a hydroponic setup at the 65-year-old's home in Watson Street yesterday, seizing more than 100 plants and oil. His arrest has angered supporters of medical cannabis, who say Premier Mike Baird has supported trials of the drug. Job seekers and employers in Port Stephens are being provided with a new and easier way to connect through a mobile community job program. The technological platform allows information about job vacancies to be instantly sent to job seekers as they are listed via their smartphones. Port Stephens Mayor Bruce McKenzie says jobs from all areas of work can be listed.
Now, with this modern technology, they'll be able to look up and find out what skills employers are seeking and whether there's a vacancy, whether it's a tourist industry, whether it's an apprentice, whether it's in old people's homes, hostels, nursing homes. They'll be all there for the young people to see. A vacancy, right, they can tap on straight away and apply for that job immediately.
A seniors forum being held at Central Charlestown Leagues Club today from 10:30 will allow older residents in the Hunter to find relevant information to suit their needs. Speakers on the day will include representatives from Lake Macquarie City Council, Police, the Law Society, Centrelink and the Heart Foundation. Shortland MP Jill Hall says she hopes hosting these information sessions will allow senior citizens to have a clearer understanding of ways to enhance their quality of life.
Well, I think it's really important. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of services that are available, but it's really hard for people to find out about those services and to find out the information. This day is an opportunity where people can come along, talk to people and gain all that information in one place.
Now with sport, Belinda Delaceres.
Newcastle Jets coach Phil Stubbins has reinstated Scott Neville and Marcos Flores to his 18-man lineup to clash with Melbourne Victory this Saturday. The two were rested for last week's loss to Perth, but will return to action this round as the Jets strive to claim their first win this season. Stubbins insists it's all about shutting down Victory's attack as star striker Besart Berisha returns from a thigh strain. The Knights could be faced with losing yet another lifeline to Brisbane following Wayne Bennett's departure on the back of revelations the Broncos' sights are now set on English billionaire Marwan Kokash. The Tycoon had expressed interest in purchasing the troubled red and blue, but it's now understood minority Broncos shareholder Phil Murphy has approached Kokash about selling his own 20% stake in the club. And Scott Coleman says he's glad to reprise his role coaching the Hamilton Hawks a year after leaving Newcastle and Hunter Rugby to head up Italian side Benevento. That's sport. I'm Belinda Delaceres.
To a new RFM News Time 26 to 8.